Welcome back to Offsides, BUTV10's only professional sports talk show. I'm Haley Alvarez-Lauto.
And I'm Brooke Alessi. To kick things off, host Alexa Podalsky will speak with analysts Mason Jablonsky and Bruni to preview upcoming NBA season.
Then Bobby Serafin and George Atencio will review the NHL offseason.
And finally, Gracie Davenport will share her thoughts on the Hockey Canada and Ian Cole scandals.
All this and more, Offsides starts right now.
Hello, and welcome to the first shot clock for season 31. I'm Alexa Podalsky, and I'm here with analysts Bruni and Mason Jablonsky, who are facing off to discuss their NBA predictions for the season. Each analyst will get 25 seconds per round to argue their case for a total of 5 rounds. Whoever has the most points at the end of the 5th round will be crowned as the winner. Mason, you're up first. Which teams do you think we'll be seeing in the finals?
My picks for this year's NBA Finals matchup are the Denver Nuggets and the Boston Celtics, with the Celtics winning the championship. Denver finished 6th in the West last season, but the return of Jamal Murray, who missed last season with an ACL injury, will help propel the team back into title contention as he rejoins the league's reigning MVP, Nikola Jokic. For Boston, their mission after last season is to win their 18th title and nothing less. The addition of Malcolm Brogdon this summer gives the Celtics another playmaker to help them on their journey back to the finals.
My prediction for the finals is Los Angeles Clippers against the Philadelphia 76ers, and I think the Clippers will win. I am picking the Clippers because Kawhi Leonard and Paul George are both back from injury, and I have faith in that duo. Also, the addition of John Wall will bolster the team. And I am picking the 76ers because I think that now, in their first full season together, Embiid and Harden will have meshed well together and will be unstoppable. In the end, though, I think Kawhi's veteran leadership and clutch gene will give the edge to the Clippers in the finals.
While it would make sense for the Celtics to return to the finals this year, their performance isn't guaranteed with the absence of Ime Udoka. For that reason, the Clippers and 76ers seem to have stronger odds in going all the way. So Bruni, you get the point. Moving on to the next round, Raf, who do you think will win the title of MVP this season?
My pick for MVP is Luka Doncic. Doncic had a rocky first half of the season last year, but he played phenomenally during the second half of the season and had a magical playoff run. If he can keep up that form, he has a strong chance of winning his first ever MVP. Doncic showed up to training camp this season looking fitter than ever. Also, Doncic's three-point shot has improved. Last season, he had the highest three-point percentage of his career with 35.3%. Doncic looks like the real deal this season.
This year's regular season MVP will be Joel Embiid. Embiid came in second place in MVP voting last season, helping the Sixers grab a 51-31 record. He averaged over 30 points, nearly 12 boards, 4 assists, a steal, and a block and a half over the course of the season. And upon losing the MVP race to Nikola Jokic, Embiid said, "I don't know what else I have to do." Another powerful showing from Embiid this season should help him finally capture the MVP honors he has been chasing these past few years.
These are 2 tough players to pick between for MVP. While Embiid has been a strong force for the 76ers, he has support from teammates like James Harden and Tyrese Maxey. Doncic's performance last season, however, is what drove the Mavericks all the way to the Western Conference Finals. For that, Raf, you get the point. Now on to who will be the best new addition to the league. Mason, who do you think will be Rookie of the Year?
The NBA's Rookie of the Year this season will be Sacramento's Keegan Murray. In his final season at Iowa, Murray posted averages of 23.5 points, nearly 9 rebounds, a steal, and almost 2 blocks. Murray was the NBA's Summer League MVP, scoring 23 a night on efficient shooting. Murray's size and two-way skill set will help make him an impressive force in his first year in the NBA. Plus, if there's one thing I would really love to see this season, it would be a glimmer of hope for the Sacramento Kings franchise.
My pick for Rookie of the Year is Paolo Banchero. I thought the Magic made a great choice of picking Banchero from Duke with the first pick. Banchero's physicality will allow him to become extremely dominant at scoring in the paint. Banchero's mix of physicality and speed will make him a nightmare for NBA defenders trying to stop him. And even though he is 6'10", Banchero's ball handling is stellar. I think this season he's going to show everyone why he was deserving of the first overall pick.
Both Murray and Banchero seem to have the talent to stand out this upcoming season. But in order to decide who has a bigger shot, you'd have to predict on who would make a bigger impact on their team. With the skill set Murray has, along with a stronger team to back him up, I believe he will be more likely to stand out by the end of the season. Mason, you get the point. So Raf, what team do you think will be most likely to disappoint this year?
My pick for the biggest flop of the year is the Phoenix Suns. They're not getting past the first round. Last season's embarrassing playoff exit to the Mavericks exposed the cracks in this team. Also, the team has had several issues recently. Their owner, Robert Sarver, was suspended, the whole DeAndre Ayton contract saga, and Jay Crowder forcing a trade. All of this internal chaos will lead to a disoriented team that will flop this season. Even though Book and Paul might put up good stats, this team will disappoint.
I do not have a great deal of hope for the Los Angeles Lakers. While Anthony Davis says he would like to suit up for every single game, his health is too large a question mark for the team's success. The Lakers seem to be ready to move on from Russell Westbrook this offseason, but he remains on the roster and his role on the team still seems undetermined, especially with an abundance of other guards. LeBron James is set to pass Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's all-time NBA scoring record, but that may be the only accomplishment the team celebrates this year.
Both of these teams definitely have some issues they need to work out in order to see some success. While the Suns have had their troubles this offseason, the Lakers have already been on the decline after missing the playoffs last season. For that, the point goes to Mason. The score is tied 2-2 going into our last round. Whoever wins will be the champion. So Mason, which team do you think will be the dark horse?
The Pelicans gave the top-seeded Phoenix Suns a run for their money in the first round last year, and now the Pelicans will see the return of former first overall pick Zion Williamson. Williamson looks slimmer and quicker coming into this season, and fans are excited to see what he can do after missing last year with injury. With gifted scorers Brandon Ingram and CJ McCollum alongside him, the Pelicans look ready to make some serious noise.
My pick for dark horse of the year is the Detroit Pistons. I think the Pistons are going to make the playoffs and they have a bright future ahead of them. Cade Cunningham is the star player of this team, and I wouldn't be surprised if he made the All-Star team this year. Also, they have a good young core with players like Sadiq Bey and Marvin Bagley. And now with the addition of promising rookies Jaden Ivey and Jalen Duren, I believe the Pistons are going to turn heads with this young team.
Both teams underperformed last season, which would make them perfect contenders for dark horse. But I'm going to have to go with the Pelicans. With Marvin Bagley out until November, the Pistons will have issues hitting the ground running. So that means, Mason, you get the point and are officially the winner. Now, over to Bobby and George for an NHL offseason review.
Welcome to Offsides' NHL offseason review. I'm your host, Bobby Serafin, joined by George Atencio to help break it all down. George, what a summer it was for the league, full of blockbuster trades, free agent deals on the daily, and total chaos surrounding some of the NHL's brightest stars. Who would you say were some of the teams that really paced this offseason?
Well, Bobby, the Calgary Flames had one of the busiest windows as they lost star forward Johnny Gaudreau to the Columbus Blue Jackets and sent his former line mate Matthew Tkachuk to the Florida Panthers. With these moves come the addition of winger Jonathan Huberdeau and defenseman Mackenzie Weegar, along with prospect Cole Schwindt and a first-round pick in 2025. Nazem Kadri was added from free agency, and Sean Monahan was traded away to the Canadiens. There's quite a few questions about whether these acquisitions can fill the holes left by Gaudreau and Tkachuk, but I'll tell you that the Flames still have a solid core and can easily stay in the playoff hunt.
Yeah, George, it really looks like the Flames could be building something here. However, they weren't the only team with cup aspirations making noise. The Carolina Hurricanes, a perennial cup contender, went out and acquired some defensive star power in Brent Burns and defenseman Dylan Coghlan, the latter of which was a part of the deal with the Vegas Golden Knights that also landed the Hurricanes' Max Pacioretty. The 33-year-old was limited by injury to just 39 games last season, but still managed 37 points. His goals come playoffs will be huge for this Canes team that's looking to finally get over the hump. These additions are only improving an already amazing lineup that finished first in the Metropolitan Division last season. This is a Stanley Cup team.
Agreed, the Hurricanes are truly a beast in the East. Moving down the pecking order a little bit, the Columbus Blue Jackets are riding high with the addition of Johnny Gaudreau, who signed a 7-year deal. Columbus also brought back their favorite goal scorer, Patrick Laine, on a 4-year deal and added Gaudreau's Calgary teammate Eric Goodbranson on a 4x4. The Blue Jackets should be an exciting team featuring a solid core, including Boone Jenner and Zach Werenski, but in a competitive Metropolitan Division, their playoff chances may be slim.
Yeah, George, the Gaudreau summer saga was crazy, with many teams seemingly in on him, but The decision to go to Columbus is a head-scratcher in my opinion. Not only is Gaudreau taking less money, but he's also going to a situation where he has next to no chance of going far in the playoffs, which was the biggest issue for him during his stint in Calgary. Moving on, though, I think now that we've addressed some of the biggest news, let's name some early winners and losers from the offseason. I'll let you get us started, George. Who was your first big loser?
My pick's going to have to be the Chicago Blackhawks. They started by shipping out Marc-Andre Fleury, Brandon Hagel, and Ryan Carpenter before last March's trade deadline and carried on with that process into the offseason. They traded 40-goal winger Alex DeBrincat to the Ottawa Senators for first and second-round picks. The Blackhawks also sent promising center Kirby Dach to the Montreal Canadiens for first and third-round picks, and then took goaltender Peter Mrazek off the Toronto Maple Leafs' hands, along with their first-round pick. An injury-plagued goalie coming off the worst season of his career isn't going to help this team that's already in a rebuilding phase. I'd expect a dead last finish from them, Bobby.
I like that pick a lot. Connor Bedard seems to be their main focus going into the 2022 season because this team is in for a massive tank. I also wouldn't be surprised to see Patrick Kane traded at the NHL deadline. But with all that said, my loser has to be the Philadelphia Flyers. They came off a bad 2021 season. Philadelphia, their general manager Chuck Fletcher, he acquired Cam Atkinson, Ryan Ellis, and Rasmus Ristolainen last summer. Those moves, however, have failed to improve this Flyers team as they sunk to the bottom of the Metropolitan Division. With a roster filled with aging core players like Sean Couturier, Cam Atkinson, and Kevin Hayes, the Flyers GM doesn't have much to show for his efforts to improve his roster this summer. They talked about having a plan to rebuild, but all they really have to show for it this summer is Nick Delorier, who isn't anything more than a fourth-line grinder. Sorry, Chuck, but that ain't going to cut it and looks like an extremely strong Metro division. Okay, now that we've gone over our losers, who do you think improved most from the summer months?
Well, Bobby, when it comes to improvement, the first team that comes to mind is the Ottawa Senators. They shipped 3 draft picks, including the 7th overall selection in the 2022 draft to the Chicago Blackhawks for winger Alex DeBrincat. 4 days later, they improved their goaltending situation by peddling the oft-injured Matt Murray to the Toronto Maple Leafs and acquired Cam Talbot from the Minnesota Wild. The following day, they signed versatile forward Claude Giroux to a 3-year, $19.5 million contract. The former captain of the Philadelphia Flyers will provide leadership and two-way experience to Pierre Dorian's young forward lines. In summary, Pierre Dorian bolstered the Senators' starting goaltending, brought in a 40-goal winger in Alex DeBrincat to skate alongside rising star Tim Stützle, and added a respected veteran presence in Giroux. According to the Ottawa Sun's Ken Warren, he's not done yet as he continues to search for a top 4 defenseman.
George, ever since the death of longtime owner Eugene Melnick, the Sens look like a completely different organization, with Dorian finally able to open his wallet and improve this team, which is something that he definitely did. My pick also has a lot to do with the man at the helm. For me, the Detroit Red Wings have won this offseason. Steve Yzerman has carefully rebuilt this roster with young players through the draft or via smaller trades geared more towards long-term success over the past couple of years. This summer, however, he made several moves designed to accelerate this process and improve his club's chances at playoff contention right now. Most of his noteworthy additions were acquired during the opening day of unrestricted free agency, as he signed forwards David Perron, Andrew Kopp, and Dominic Kubalik, and he didn't stop there. He also addressed his blue line by grabbing defensemen Ben Sherratt and Oli Mata. The common thread with all of these moves is playoff experience, which is something this team desperately needs. He also acquired goaltender Ville Husso on July 8th from the St. Louis Blues and signed him to a 3-year deal. The 27-year-old Husso outplayed Blue starter Jordan Binnington during the 2021-22 season. He and Alex Nedeljkovic should form a solid tandem that brings more stability between the pipes for this young team. It looks like the Yzer plan is starting to come to a close. But after that's all said and done, the last few months, the regular season is finally underway, and teams will now have to let their play do the talking. And the big question remains, who is your favorite to lift Lord Stanley this year?
Well, Bobby, for me, it's got to be the Carolina Hurricanes. With an already solid core, additions like Brent Burns should be perfect for him.
That's a valid point, George, but I think one team that's often been overlooked despite all the additions they made this offseason was the Calgary Flames. You bring in Nazem Kadri, you upgrade your blue line with Mackenzie Weegar, and you finally seem to have the right group of guys around Coach Daryl Sutter. I think this Flames team could be a real story in the Western Conference, and I think they can go all the way. And I feel like we can go on and on about one of the busiest NHL offseasons in recent memory, but that's all the time we have. Up next, we stick with hockey with Gracie Davenport.
On May 26, 2022, the hockey world was rocked as it was reported Hockey Canada settled a lawsuit earlier that month. The victim, an undisclosed 24-year-old woman, alleged she was sexually assaulted by 8 hockey players following a 2018 Hockey Canada Foundation event in London. The players are reportedly members of both the CHL and Hockey Canada, including players from the 2018 Under-20 men's junior team. 20 of the 22 players on the junior roster currently play in the NHL. Some players have released statements attempting to clear their names, but it's hard to believe that more players did not at least hear about the assault regardless of their involvement. The biggest detail that emerged was their National Equity Fund. Claiming this fund contributes to safety, wellness, and equity initiatives, Hockey Canada also uses it to cover insurance policies and claims related to sexual assault. This news prompted Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau to condemn the organization. Hockey Canada vowed they would stop using the fund for sexual assault claims. However, the damage is already done. It's been reported that $7.6 million from the fund have been used to settle 9 sexual assault cases since 1989. Trudeau called on Hockey Canada's executives to resign, and on October 11th, their CEO and president, Scott Smith, and their entire board of directors did. All 4 of Hockey Canada's premier partners have pulled out of all men's events this year, including Nike and Tim Hortons. This includes the highly coveted World Juniors Championship, a time when the entire nation comes together during the holiday season, a tradition ingrained in Canadian culture. I admire these companies' decisions to cut ties because if anything makes people take action, it's money. When hosting this tournament, Hockey Canada receives 50% of the profits, and the host city reels in another $100 million in merchandise and venue revenue. Unsurprisingly, the mayor of Halifax has already greenlit the event for this year. Again, money talks, but hosting such a large event does feel tone deaf to the overall situation. In the NHL, a woman recently alleged on social media that Tampa Bay Lightning defenseman Ian Cole sexually abused and groomed her when she was a minor. Cole, who won 2 Stanley Cups with the Penguins, signed with Tampa in free agency, but was suspended by the organization pending the league's investigation. Cole denied all allegations, and soon after the investigation wrapped. The NHL claimed they found no evidence to support the anonymous allegations. Having missed Tampa's first 3 games, Cole has been reinstated and is now eligible to play. While these allegations have been found to be without merit, they fit the narrative of many other past allegations and are part of a more systemic issue regarding hockey culture. I love this league for the entertainment that it garners, but in times like this, it feels like they are doing the bare minimum. And on that note, now back to Brooke and Haley.
Thanks, Gracie. That's all we have for this episode of Offsides. If you're interested in joining our team, please email us at offsides@butv10.com.
Also be sure to like our Facebook page and follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Offsides10.
On behalf of our entire cast and crew, thanks for watching and have a great night.